Okay. Uh, can everyone hear me? Good evening, class. Okay, good evening. So I think currently we have about 30 plus, close to 40 students. So perhaps while waiting the rest to come, we can kickstart this course. My name is Dr. Xiao. So I will be your so-called instructor for this MTD 205. So this 205 is basically talking about so-called about more towards sound technology. Apologize for that. I just now play some videos. Yeah. So I think as mentioned just now, I will be your course instructor for this module MT05 Sound Technology. Because this course itself is quite relevant to today's world, especially I think every one of you will hold all these Android phone, iPhone, regardless Google phone, regardless Huawei phone, or even so-called Samsung. And of course, maybe majority of you also own iPhone. So you will be wondering how the sound effect of all these so-called iPhone, especially those have all these home audio system, how all these sound special effect come about. So this call is basically give you the introductions about how sound is being generated out, and then eventually human using technology can manipulate the sound accordingly to what you want. So for example, as all these so-called world getting more advanced, cyber attacks also become more prevalent. So you will know that even your voice can be so-called manipulated accordingly by those hacker or those scammer. So this because they make use of the sound capture, they record your sound and then use some technology to manipulate that look like your parents, that look like your fathers, that look your whatever, and then fool your whatever relative or friends accordingly. So therefore, this call is talking about how are we going to manipulate all this sound accordingly using technology. But before that, we definitely need to know how the sound is being generated before we can manipulate. Just like if you're using iPhone or using Apple so-called HomePod, you will know that Apple product using Siri, then Google will using other type of products. So apologize for that. I'm not very familiar with the Android phone series, but then I'm more familiar with the Apple because I'm an Apple fan. So a lot of example, even you see the exam papers, sometimes have some illustration about Apple products. Okay, but of course, you will not be if you are not Apple fan. It's okay. It's just like the description is applied more towards so-called general. But I'm using Apple as a product as an example. That's all. It will not change you. Just don't worry. Okay, so of course, especially when you go to cinema, if you go to cinema with your family, with your partners, then or your kids, etc. So all these cinemats, all the sound system, how it's being generated up to give you that special effects. So this is linked to this topic called sound technology MT205. Okay, so without further ado, perhaps I talk about throughout the 6 lecture that I review, including the lab itself, what are we supposed to do and what is the learning objective. So the first learning objective for today, yeah, is definitely we you let me use the cursor. You will need to understand so-called what is the nature of sound. Okay, how does sound come about from human? How do I talk and produce the sound and transmit to you through all this internet? But before I transmit to internet, how does sound come from my body, from my throat? So what is the nature of sound? Okay, and how to generate out from my throat? Okay, and of course, we also talk about once the sound is being generated out, travel to the air, can we capture it as electrical signal or not? Because in the whole world, we want to, as a human, we like to manipulate signal. So therefore, the best is manipulation signal is the means of electrical signal. Okay. And of course, this will be the first objective for today. What is sound? How it's being generated? And how to convert to electrical representation for human manipulations. And part 2, for today, we will talk about something what we call transducer. So transducer, the word prime means that I transform energy transform to another energy. Okay, transform to another energy. Okay, one form of energy. For example, sound transform to another form. Okay, that is called transducer. So for example, when talking right now, or you listen to your another form, you listen to your, perhaps in your iPhones or so-called Samsung phone, you listen to Spotify. Okay, you install Spotify in your apps, in your handphone, or in your laptops. So whatever you store in your hard disk, okay, is all electrical formats. So you need some transducer to transmit out and become sound. That's what we call speaker. Then at the same time, this is called speaker. So at the same time, when you try to involve in some singing competitions, you need to use microphone. So this microphone itself is picking up your sound from the air and then go to this microphone and convert to electrical signal, and then it will so-called go to some manipulation and transmit out, okay, to the air. Okay, so this is what I call microphone. Of course, we'll go to more detail later on. So for today, we talk about what is transducer. The word trans means transform from one form to another. Okay, is it okay for Renpen so far in the understanding? Or Zhiqian, yeah. Stop me if any questions, I will get to answer to you. Okay, and of course, this today's objective. We are not going through the entire objective on this slide today because today is just introduction. So of course, if based on this learning objective to this object 2, you are able to do this TMA. And one thing I didn't mention is that, of course, along the way I will mention is that this course itself do not need any textbook. Okay, so if you know about this course itself, you have been received some information from the admin side that you need to do some so-called online quizzes before you come to the lectures. So all this is based on some learning guides that has been uploaded to you. So, and of course, for TMA and of course exam itself, you do not need any extra material. All the material you need is just the lecture note that I post onto the so-called Canvas and some of the so-called extra material that I post on the Canvas and the TMA questions that you're going to attempt will be ready enough for your exam preparation. So in short, you do not need any learning material except whatever that's posted on the so-called Canvas by me, on the so-called on your Canvas, all the lecture notes, all the extra material, and most importantly, to prepare for exam is the TMA questions that you need to be supposed to be attend. So the TMA will serve a very important learning guide for exam. Okay, I will come to that as times go by. So for Zhiqian, you can address me as Dr. Xiao. Okay. Is it okay for Zhiqian? So I think okay, or you can call me Doc, it's okay. Yeah, in short, okay. So so as mentioned just now, today we're talking about what is sound, how to generate out, and how to convert sound to electrical representation. And to convert to electrical representation, we need something called transducer. Convert sound to electrical after manipulate electrical to sound again. We'll go through that later on. And for the objective for today, we will, of course, perhaps those that have not many years already, though have not touched some mathematics, especially in your early maths in secondary school, we may talk about something called sine wave. And later on, I will talk about sine wave actually is the purest signal in the world for all these so-called electrical signal or energy. Yeah. So this is very similar in the old days when you study. I think you're still young than me. In the old days when you study chemistry, your teacher, MOE teacher tell you in chemistry, the smaller elements of a material is called atom. Atom is the smaller element of a material beside whatever that's inside this atom. Okay. But similarly, in all these technologies, the smallest or the basic materials of so-called electrical signal is what we call sine wave. That actually you have done that in your early days of mathematics called mathematics set 3, set 4. But if you forgot, never mind, we'll revise through, no worry. Okay, it's just an introduction today. And of course, today we will go through part 4 of the objective called digitalization. How do you capture sound from the air and then transform it to something that you want and then throw it out again through speaker? We give you the overall view what's going on. And of course, the part 5 objective for today, we'll stop here, is to select filter for specific application. And what is filter for specific application? Basically is that example, or you know that for ladies' voice, example, for some of you, for ladies, the sound is quite sharp. That means high pitch. But for guys like me, my sound is very low. Because this linked to something called frequency spectrums that every human is different. Okay, so therefore, if I want to transform a lady voice to a male voice, I can apply some filter, and then this lady voice will become a male voice. You can apply some filter, and this also how scam come in. Okay, they can manipulate sound that may need your friends, may need you, and fool your parents, relative, or even partners, because we can use filter to manipulate sound. We'll go through that later. So today we'll stop at somewhere here. Okay. And of course, subsequent weeks, or rather the following next lecture, we'll talk about 6, 7, 8. Okay. If we got time, we'll see how much we can go through. So, but by right, if you finish top 8 learning outcome for this chapter 1, you should able to do TMA question 1. And of course, TMA question will be released in September. Yeah, somewhere in mid-September. Okay, we make sure that you have sufficient knowledge to do the TMA. And of course, as mentioned, I will also have a special sessions to help to teach you, or not teach you, to give you guidance how to do your TMA. Yeah. So as mentioned, to prepare for exams and TMA, you focusing on the lecture notes itself will suffice. And prepare for the exam, obviously, lecture notes plus TMA will equals to the exam. Okay, that is sufficient for the learning to ace well in your exam. And of course, you have all these so-called online quiz also. The online quiz that is primarily in October, you also can 100% sure it is baseline on the lecture notes that I teach you. Yeah, taught you along the way. So no need extra material. It's only the pre-quiz that before you come to the lectures, you need to do some reading through the learning guide that the school give you. Oh, okay, Taufik. Okay. Taufik is asking if got anything important for the exam, can you call 3 times so that we know it's important? Okay. So, but at the same time, if I cough many times, because real cough, how? I may cough many times. Yeah. COVID, yeah. Okay. So of course, I no need to cough. I would expressly tell you. Yeah. So I think I no need to call to tell you which one is important, but I'll especially tell you which one to focus on. Okay, right now I will tell you that for exam, the ability to do this TMA is very important because sometimes I talk, I keep coughing, so then you mistaken it's important. Actually, it's not important. Yeah. So it's better to explicitly tell you which one you focus on, which one not. No need to be focused on. Which one is just sleeping time. Sometime in the night you cannot sleep, then you just read. Yeah. Okay. Is it okay? Uh, let's move on. Okay. So okay, is it okay for human? So don't worry, by default, if you really attend the lessons and you already attend the TMA and the online quiz that is in October, and of course, most importantly, please attend one a Saturday somewhere in October. It's supposed to be lab sections. I will announce sooner or later when it comes. The lab session is supposed to attend the MATLAB, so-called some MATLAB examples, which is not important. It's just so-called exposure to translate theory to practical to give you the visualization. But the most important during the 3 hours lab, first hour or first 1.5 hour, we're focusing on lab. But next subsequent hour, we will be focusing on TMA revision and guidance. I will come to that later on. Okay. Okay, so quickly, let's of course we have more students right now, slowly. So let's talk about what is sound. Okay. So this course, as mentioned, is talking about sound technology, how sound arises. But before we talk about how sound arises, let's talk about what is sound. This one may have covered in your secondary school during your science subject, but if you don't have, it's okay. So sound is a part of our daily life. We have dealing with sound throughout from your baby time all the way to adults right now. So sound actually, how it come about is actually is a kind of wave. Just like right now, you are very familiar with using handphone, you're watching TikTok. Okay, watching TikTok, you're watching TikTok, and then you're watching all these K-drama, J-drama. Now it's popular called C-drama. Thailand is called T-drama. All this drama thing uh, is all about sound. Okay, all this sound actually is arises from something called wave. Yeah, so wave itself is a major appearance in this world. Similarly, your handphone, all this also receive 5G signal, 4G signal is also a kind of wave from Singtel base station, M1 base station, Star base station. This 5G signal actually is a kind of wave. But this 5G signal is slightly different from your sound signal, although both is wave, but they behave differently. So before we go to talk about both of them, let's talk about what is wave. So wave itself is actually a disturbance that travels through a mediums from one location to another location. The presence of medium actually depend on whether it's sound or whether other type of wave. Okay, so for example, water is also a wave. So as for example, you can see here, this may be so-called a human. Okay, then if you want to pass, you want to so-called create a wave. So therefore, it can be in this way, create a wave. One go up, one go down, one go up, one go down. Of course, later I'll show you some YouTube videos to illustrate what is wave. Okay, so a wave here, if someone go up and down, you'll create a wave up and down, up and down, up and down. So this is what we call a wave. Okay, that travel from one locations all the way to another location. So for example, this point A, this is point B. They are similar to Kallang Wave. Plus, if you watch soccer I do not know now still got all this Kallang Wave or not. Okay, so last time you watch soccer, Singapore soccer is very popular last time, many years ago. Then you create a Kallang Wave. Yeah. So similarly, I think sometime in National Day parade, they may create a Kallang Wave in the old days. Yeah. So this is a wave. Okay. So everything is talking about wave at Einstein, or not at Einstein level, at Newton level. Okay. There's three field grid scientists. One is Newton, one is Einstein, and of course one is quantum. Nowadays people start to talk quantum. There's three type of wave. Okay. Three type of signal. One is at a high level called Newton. C is famous, the one that sit under a tree, apple drop down. That is called Newton. Okay, then you have Einstein. So Einstein is someone that invent all these so-called discover gravitation wave in outer space. And of course, you go to something called quantum, which is our topic. So when you talk about wave, it's a physical phenomenon. Like you throw a ripple into the pond, there's a water ripple wave coming out. Okay, so wave is a disturbance. We'll show some YouTube video later on. Okay, especially a spring. And before we go into sound itself, let's talk about few types of so-called wave. Okay, the first type, of course, belong to the sound. It's called longitude wave propagation in a medium. I believe you have done that in your so-called all this PCQ quiz, which is beyond my control. I didn't set it. It's set by the school. So all this is referred to some study guide, which you will need to study for PCQ quiz. But I repeat again, PCQ is referred to some study guide. But for TMA, online quiz, and exam, just follow my Canvas materials, lecture notes, the 6 lecture notes, plus some extra guides that I post along the way, and of course some TMA examples and short solutions to prepare for the exam will submit for the whole learning course for TMA and exam. Let's talk about what is longitude wave propagation. So the keyword longitude wave actually is, before I show the pictorial view, let's talk about its property. Longitude wave propagation need a medium. Okay, source means where it generate out, need a medium, and of course the energy to travel from point A to point B. And I will ask you one questions. In outer space, does you, example, you watch Star Wars version, Star Wars, or these so-called Superman, or all these called all these Marvels movies, especially adventure, when they fight into outer space, you heard all this explosion. Is it really real or not? Later, we'll come back to that later on. So in short, let's talk about what is sound first. Sound need a source. Source means someone to generate out the sound. Medium means need something called a medium to travel, like air. Okay, air is a medium. Water is a medium. Guitar is also medium. If you realize, if those playing music, those that is playing music, you realize most of the musical instrument is made up of wood, solid wood. Like guitar, behind guitar is made out of wood. Piano also made out of wood. And what other instrument? Violin also. And all these so-called and all these double bass, all these big violin, small violin, all these so-called is made out of wood, because wood itself is a medium that sound can travel through and play out. And of course, energy means you must energy travel from one point to one point. So for example, longitude wave, which I show you a YouTube video later on, is that longitude wave represent energy that represent travel from point A all the way to point B, like using a spring as an example. So in a longitude wave, using a vibration spring as an example, is talking about so-called a series of compressions and release of the first coil all the way from one end to another end. So example, for illustrations, when the spring is being compressed, you can see all back together. That is called compression. When the spring is being relaxed, it means that it's being expanded out. So a longitude wave, a vibration spring actually is a series of compress, relax, compress, relax, compress, relax until the energy has been transferred from A to B. Okay, so and this is what we call sound energy travel. There's this one way where you try to push the spring on the wall, and then it will travel from one point to another point. Of course, later will show some example in terms of videos. Okay, so this is the nature. You can see that if you go into a microscopic level, you can see that this is being, oh sorry, this is not good. Let me throw away. You can see here, it's being compressed, relaxed, all the way compressed, relaxed, all the way to so-called relax, compress. Okay, what does that mean? Maybe let me show you how we do in a pictorial view before I go to video. So in terms of mouthful word, maybe you may not know what is compressed, what is relaxed, but it means that we are trying to have a source. Example, your hand here. This is the spring. This is one standing so-called stand that hold the spring. So if I push my hand, okay, if I push my hand from the left to the right, you can see the energy has been transformed from left all the way to the right. Okay, so example, this is the hand. I push the spring from the left to the right. You can see that there's a series of compress, relax, compress, relax, until the end can feel this so-called compression. And along the series, you can see the energy has been traveled from left to right. Okay, the direction of energy, okay, have been traveled from left to right. And the direction of vibration, CR, also from left to right. So they are in error. Okay. So this is what we call longitude wave. So let me stop here and show you a videos on so-called this longitude wave before I go transfer wave. Give me a while. I'm not sure have you able to see. Where is the video? Let me show you. Yeah, okay. It's quite short, just 24 seconds. Let's talk about what is longitude wave through a simple video. Everyone can see this YouTube or not? I hope everyone can see. Yeah, so okay, let me share. Good. So let's talk about what's longitude wave. You can see this is a spring, being where the hand here. Yeah, yeah. So you can see here, you can see that here itself, this is your source. And you can see that when I try to compress it, okay, when the hand is trying to compress it, which is the hand, the energy is being transferred from left to right, okay, from left to right. So the energy has been transferred. Energy means that the not the up and down, not the left and right, but not the spin compress, relax, but at the corner you can see that the spring is so-called moving. As long as it's moving, it means that there's energy being felt. Okay, so this is the end. At the same time, the direction of vibration, you can see there's a series of so-called relaxations. This is compressions, relaxations, compressions. Everyone can see my drawing, right? Hopefully you can see my drawing. Yeah. Yeah, can see, right? So there's left to right. There's energy being transferred from left to right because energy means that there's something moving. That is the energy transfer from left to right. And the vibrations, in this case, talking about compress, relax. So I play again, you can see that. Let me again, you can see that there is some, yeah. Okay, so maybe I repeat again. We move away. So you can see that's wave. Okay, so let's stop. And Hanshin visualize it through this picture. What is longitude wave? Let's go back to the slide. Is it okay? About 之前 so far is okay for longitude wave. Okay, good. So let's move on. So wave itself, just like I mentioned, there's two types. One is longitude wave, which is sound, because the energy is being transformed from left to right. It's in the same direction of the compression, relaxation, compression, relaxation. So the vibration, direction of vibration and the direction of energy transfer is the same in parallel. So this is what you call longitude wave, which represents the sound. The other wave that also exists in your day-to-day life is your transfer wave. This transfer wave is different because the direction of propagations in this case is uh direction of propagation is energy still transfer from left to right. When I say energy means that eventually at the end you can see some motion because motion is a kind of energy. So this energy travel from left to right. But then the vibration in transfer wave is up and down. Okay. So it is 90 degrees perpendicular. So this is called transfer wave. And one simple example in your day-to-day life is your handphone signal, your Wi-Fi signal at your home, your handphone signal when you go out to any outdoor, you use 5G signal, 4G signal. Yeah, so all these electromagnetic wave is so-called a transfer wave. Of course, it's out of your scope. It means that in 5G signal, actually it have the electrical field, it have the so-called magnetic field. So it's traveling up and down, left to right, along the way. Okay. So the energy is being transferred. Example, this is your handphone. This is your base station. I don't know how to draw base station. Base station may be a tower, maybe not here. A tower type. Okay. This is a base station. Okay. It's base station, BS, and of course this is your handphone. So you can see the EM wave, 5G or 5G signal 4G will travel from base station all the way. The vibration is called electrical field and magnetic field. It will be traveling up and down, left to right, not left to right, so-called in the perpendicular way, 90 degrees, okay, as perpendicular to the direction of propagation. This 5G signal, Wi-Fi at your home also is perpendicular. So using spin as an example, if you see here, it means that the direction of energy is transfer. Transfer means 90 degrees to the direction of vibration. You can see that the vibration is up and down. Okay, you can see is up, down, up, down, but the energy is being transferred from left to right. This is a typical transfer wave. Okay, let me switch to switch to the YouTube to give you the final visualizations. Let me stop it and go back to YouTube. Okay. Yeah. So this is sometimes just now your friend say Kallang wave. Okay. So I repeat. So transfer wave, as you mentioned here. Similarly, we have it's similar to what your friend just now mentioned, Kallang wave. So in the soccer match where the spectator move up and down to support the so-called whatever soccer player on the pitch. Okay, so you can see this is your hand. The hand is going up and down. Once the hand going up there, the so-called the vibration also going up and down. Okay, up and down. But then the direction of energy is being felt at the end because it travel from left to right. So this represent a 90 degrees differences. So if I play the videos, you can see that. Okay. Okay. So far, okay. Okay. So far, okay for waveform or 失明. So far in the understanding on these two type of wave. Yeah. So with that in mind, good. With that in mind, we move to the next one, which call medium that refer to the sound. So when people say that so this leads to a question that whether sound can exist in this so-called outer space or not, and whether sound when you go up and up, when you take aeroplane or take flight, if your flight going up and up, can you listen to the sound or not? Okay, and this is I will explain later on. So sound, as see from this slide, sound is only so-called can be generated in a medium. So what is a medium? Okay, medium itself is needed to provide the particle that must vibrate in order to transfer energy. Okay, so in this case, sound require a medium because medium will help you to transfer energy from point to point. Okay, and sound is the speed is variable because depend on the property of the medium. In this case, the substance of which the way we travel. So what does that mean? It mean that, for example, can you right now guess sound travel faster in air or sound travel faster in water or sound travel faster in so-called solid? Okay, so example, you swim in the swimming pool, then in the swimming pool you dive in, then you shout to your friends. Can your friend at the other end heard what you're talking about when you shout in the water? And of course, if you shout in the air, when I shout at you, okay, can you know, can my sound reach you fast or not? And of course, if I have a wood example, your friend mentions how to pronounce your name, Bobby, right? Yeah, is that suggest solid is the faster. Why is it so? Yeah, so why solid travel faster? Why sound travel faster in solid? Okay, you are correct. Sound travel faster in solid, and second faster is liquid, and third is air. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Zhiqian. So what is medium? Medium basically is just like you transfer, if you those that watch martial art in the old days, regardless you are from Chinese, Malay, India, or even Eurasia, whatever. Singapore is four nationality: Chinese, Malay, Indian, and Eurasians, or maybe have different types of martial art. Okay, when in especially and all these religion or not religion, so-called race, they always have this martial art, and you can see that sometimes they promote something called transfer energy and transfer some type of martial art through your body to another part. So therefore, you need a medium to transfer your martial art from one body to another body. So this is similar here. If you need a media, example, you need some for media because you need the particle in the media to transfer energy, some energy from one point to another point. And later you'll see vacuum actually cannot carry out sound. And whatever you see in the movie, Star Wars, Avenger, Superman, or whatever, they always show explosion in outer space. That is special effect, cannot exist one. No matter how you shout, no matter how bomb is being exploded in the space, it cannot be heard at all because in vacuum is not a medium. Vacuum is no particle to transfer the exposure energy from one point to another point. And what does that really mean? Let's talk about sound in air first. Okay. Okay, let on to this one. So let's talk about, oh no, just now I mute it because I want to later let you put some YouTube videos. Okay, so let's back to the slide first. So I think sound in air. Let's talk about air first for the sound. Okay, as you know, sound by default right now, you should know there's a medium, but actually, what is a medium? So medium actually is consists of a lot of molecule. As you know, you study from your early science course in secondary school, all the be it solid, liquid, gas inside got particle, be it atoms, be it molecule, etc. We don't really care. We just know that there is some molecules, there is some particles to make up of material, be it solid, liquid, gas. So if you have this so-called forks, fog, okay. If you try to do some compression and then relax out, actually, this compression relaxation out, it is trying to cause the vibration of sound in air, trying to cause the air molecules to compress together at certain point, while other point are being separate out from others. So this is a mouthful word. What is compression? What is refraction? Refraction means just now I mentioned relaxations. But how does this doing fog really works? Let's come to that in a pictorial video view will be better because picture say 1,000 words or video say 1,000 images. Okay, so let me show you the so-called give me a while. Let me show you this one. Let me show you. Everyone see this one? This is a so-called this is so-called a tuning fork example. If you're going to so-called try to push this tuning fork left to right, okay, you can see that here is all the air particle. In the air, assume this air particle is packed nicely in a very uniform way. You can see that once you do this any motions, you are causing your air particle to be compressed and then relax, compress and relax accordingly. So you can see there's a series of compressions and relaxation depending on energy travel from left to right. Okay. Is it okay for human? You can see these videos, right? Yeah. Yeah, so this is a kind of so-called tuning fork that cause the air particle to be compressed and depressed. And this tuning fork is a kind of representations of sound. So this means that actually your sound is being traveled to the other end through this vibration. Energy is transferred from one air particle to another air particle. So in so-called in, let me stop it. Okay, let me show back to the, okay. So you can see that actually everything need a particle in the medium. So in vacuum, there's no particle. So how does sound travel from one point to other point? Cannot be achieved because there's no particle to transfer energy. Just like I mentioned, you need someone to, example, you play martial art. Okay, in the all these old movies, it's always talking about transfer the energy of martial art from one body to another body. All these need a body. So right now in vacuum, there's no body because there's no air particle. There's no possible to transfer energy from one point to another point. All you see in a movie is just some special effect to attract you to continue watch this movie. That's all. Okay. So is it okay for K Kirsten? Yeah. And Wina, yeah, Wina, yeah, is it okay? Yeah. Before we go to another topic, what we call sound pressure level, correct? Yeah, the icon is very good. Okay, is yes, I receive your yes because you are transferring this yes to me, putting this away to me. Very good. Okay, so this is how energy is being transferred to me. Your yes. Okay. So I think based on, and of course how much energy being transferred to you actually is relate to something called sound pressure level. Okay. So this is another concept called sound pressure level. Some of you may have studied that in the early days of science, but if you don't have, never mind. Expansion to this course actually is just introduction, not really for today's. Today is the first lecture. A lot of part is actually have not reached the examination part yet. Okay, so it's give you some introduction about what is sound, the nature of sound, and eventually the next topic is called sound pressure level. As you know, just now based on tuning fork, the tuning fork when you squeeze and relax, it causing some pressure on the air particle beside. And this pressure itself depends how strong is the pressure, it may travel very fast to the end. If the pressure is very small, then it is very weak. Okay, so the variation of the pressure in the medium that varies with the position in the medium is actually related to the sound pressure level. So you can see there's a series of air being compressed, then after that it's relaxed, compress, relax, compress, relax, compress, relax, compress, relax until reach the end. Okay, where you can feel the vibration. Okay, and of course the relax is what we call in technical term, we call refraction. Refraction means it is relaxation. Okay. So, and what and exactly how to effect this sound pressure level. Let's go into next slide. Sorry, I mute. So therefore, there is no, just now, sorry, I mute it. So therefore, there's no air particle travel to you. Yeah, you are correct. Okay. For Kirsten and of course for Donghui, okay, there's no more longitude wave because I suddenly mute it. I try to find some videos to illustrate that on sound pressure level. There's no pressure transfer to you. Yeah. So the sound pressure level actually depend on the strength. It can be loud or sound. Just like now I talk hello. Okay, very loud. That of course because my sound pressure level from my vocal cord is loud, I shout. If I say hello, it's very soft, that the sound pressure level is very soft, therefore it should be soft. So in the very layman term, you can say that sound pressure level is related to the density of the sound. Okay. So therefore, when I raise my voice, I say hello. It's very loud. The sound pressure level very high. And when I say hello, then it's very soft. Then the sound pressure level is very weak because the energy transfer to the air particle point by point becomes soft. Okay, it reach you very soft because the vibration hitting the air particle is not strong. Okay. Of air particle. Let me see. Yeah, so in short is loudness. The louder it is, it will be so-called higher sound pressure level. Okay. So let me maybe see whether can I use this one as an example to show you. Yeah. Maybe this is a short video. I will run faster. So if I use this one as an example, everyone can see, right? Maybe I use this one as an example. Sound pressure level, you will see. Mhm. Cannot see? Can you hear? Human? Can you hear? Cannot hear. Let me see. Why cannot hear? Can you hear? Can you hear now? Oh, okay. I know what I'm doing. I need to change the source. Uh, for the video. Let me give me a while. Yeah, I know. You hold on. It's from the microphone. Can you hear right now? It should be this one. Let me stop sharing. Yeah, and share the. Share the Let me check. It's okay. I think most important thing that I want to highlight is that let me go back to here. Okay. So if everyone can see, the most important thing I want to highlight is that no need to cut the video. The most important is that down here, I want to highlight is that you can see things moving left to right. Okay, left to right. Okay, and of course the compression reflections is a series. So if you push hard enough, then you push faster. When push faster means that you reach the end faster because energy is being transferred from one point to another point. So therefore, it means that actually you are pushing the particle faster. Okay, and therefore the sound pressure level will become bigger because you exert more pressure to it. Obviously, the pressure to air particle will be pushing to the end faster and of course louder. Okay, so let me quickly go back to here again. So, and of course, a series of compression, depression. Can you see the slide right now? A series of compression, depressions. Out here, can everyone see this slide? Okay, thank you. Can good. So you can see that the compression relaxation. Actually, compression means you push hard, therefore it press the air particle all together. That means if you see the energy level, when it's relaxed, there's no pressure. When it's being pushed hard, there's a pressure, therefore it's at the high pressure. This point here, the pressure SPL is high because you force the air particle to be squeezed. Then of course, right now you can see now after that here, super relaxed. Super relaxed means that the pressure is being almost zero, but actually it's more less than zero because it go to the negative direction, it's expand, even more relaxed, quite this space apart. So down here, if you say compress, this all the air particle is being compressed, you can see that it's being squeezed together. You are being forced it to squeeze together. So therefore, is the sound must be very loud because you saw it to be together. But then of course you slowly go to zero down here. Then later on, instead of go to zero, but because you expand out, you make it very relaxed, the pressure should be at the reverse. Okay, so therefore you can see here, down here is actually very relaxed because it's the lowest point. It's even smaller than zero, means that zero means do nothing. But then right now you can see the number of particles here is lesser. Lesser, example here got maybe 5 particle. Maybe don't want. I maybe put 10 particle at this 0 place. Then here being squeezed together, there's maybe 50 particle. 50 particle means pressure very high because it's all squeezed together. Then here, down here, instead of 10 particle, actually being expanded out at this region, maybe only 5 only. So you can see it's being relaxed because you pull it in the other direction, the pressure is reversed. So similar, you go up and down, so it looks like a sine wave. This type of wave is called sinusoidal wave, or in short, we call sine wave. Okay, sine wave. Okay, and for those, if you recall, in your early secondary school maths, set 3, set 4, you may touch something called sine, cosine, tangent, all this. So sine is one of them. And you realize that actually sine wave is the smallest element in all this energy form. This is very similar to you learn chemistry. Atom is the smallest particle in material. So in technology, in energy, the smaller element is called sine wave. Okay, it's okay for Vina. Sinusoidal wave, correct. So not you can say that maybe in the English word, you can say that sine wave or sinusoidal wave in short is the building's block, smaller building block equals to the first building block. Sorry, because I didn't iPad, I use my trackpad. Next time I'll use iPad. Smallest building blocks for energy or for electrical signal, whatever signal you have, this is a smaller building block. So this is very similar. This is very similar that atom is the smaller building block in chemistry. Smaller building block in chemistry. Okay, all materials is built out of atom. Okay. Okay, in chemistry. It's okay for human. Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. Let's move on. Let me move on. So therefore, because of this compress, relax, compress, relax, compress, it may need a sine wave. Okay, up and down, up and down. And this may need a sine wave in terms of sound pressure. And later you can see that how science is very fantastic is that this sine wave actually can represent in energy, can represent in terms of electrical signal. That is the coincidence that made this so-called our technology move so advanced in these 20th centuries. Okay. And before I let you see the videos of this one, this is just activities to explain that here itself is a so-called a bell, okay, a doorbell. And normally doorbell, if you turn it on, definitely you can hear the ring, 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 ring. Then of course, if you're outside, if a huge human at the outside, without this, this glass container. So normally, even when this is this is because inside got air particle. So right now, this demonstration is showing that if this doorbell is ringing, you as outside, like Rina mentioned, energy is being transferred to the human can hear it. Okay, so longitude wave being travel out, air particle being travel out, and human can hear it. But then if this thing is called a vacuum pump, it pump out all the air particle, it become a vacuum. Okay, can you still hear the sound or not? Okay, so let's illustrate that with a simple YouTube video. Let me give you that video. Okay. Yeah, because I mute. So when mute, that means no energy being traveled to your side. Okay, because I trying to find the videos. So example right now, can everyone see this video? I hopefully can. This just to show that sound require a medium. Okay, so of course, I may not able to play the sound. I'm not sure. Let me see how to share. Let me see. Share screen. Let me turn on the sound. Give me a while. Audio. So can you see this video? But I'm not sure. Can you hear the sound? Oh, sorry, forgot. I think I know why. Uh, Share sound. Okay, optimize for video sharing. Okay, now should be able to share sound. Let me put the password. Oh, I need a password which I cannot.
jar.
Let me show this.
First, press the switch for the bell and you will be able to hear the bell clearly. The bell jar is connected to a vacuum pump as
Okay.
shown.
Yeah, because the sound pressure
Now,
level very high.
start to
so
pump
it's
the
very
air
loud.
out of the
How
jar
about here?
gradually. You will hear the sound becoming fainter, although the same current is passing to the electric bell. Soon you will notice the less air is left inside the bell jar, the less the sound becomes. If the air is removed completely, you won't be able to hear any sound. From this experiment, we can understand that sound cannot travel through vacuum.
Again.
Take an electrical bell and an airtight bell jar. The bell is suspended inside the airtight bell jar. First, press the switch for the bell and you will be able to hear the bell clearly. The bell jar is connected to a vacuum pump as shown. Now, start to pump the air out of the jar gradually. You will hear the sound becoming fainter, although the same current is passing to the electric bell. Soon you will notice the less air is left inside the bell jar, the less the sound becomes. If the air is removed completely, you won't be able to hear any sound. From this experiment, we can understand that sound cannot travel through vacuum.
Okay. So hopefully you can appreciate that sound actually need a medium. Okay.
During this video. A good understanding of how strong
So let's turn on my again. Is Irene okay? Yeah, so far. Okay, so let me quickly finish a topic on sound transducer before I call a short break. Okay. Okay, so I think let's go through a transducer before we call a short break. I think just give me maybe 2-3 slides before we, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, give me 6 slides. I think in 10 minutes time we should call a short break. Okay, good. So the next topic that we talk about now, we know what is sound. Sound is kind of wave, and it is a longitude wave because the direction of propagations and the direction of vibration, air particle is always in the same direction. If the energy travel from left to right, your vibration also travel from left to right because you need to transfer sound energy to the air particle. Air particle is a media to help you carry energy, sound energy from point to point. Therefore, it's always longitude. Just like you transfer your martial art, kung fu or martial art energy to your friends or whatever, you need a body to transfer left to right. Okay. So therefore, it's a longitude wave. And of course, just now we see why need a medium because as you see, because it's going to transfer energy from point to point. If vacuum means empty, nothing down there, no air, which you cannot breathe. And once you cannot breathe means there's no air particle, means that even you shout very loud, you also cannot hurt. Okay, those movies that you see is just a special effect. You cannot hurt one because if you are astronaut, you shout in outer space, no matter how loud you shout, there's no air particle for you to transfer your sharpness, your loudness from point to point. Okay, that is a only movie special effect, that's all. And next topic that we're going to talk about before we call a short break is what we call microphone. As you know, the word called transducer is a word that say transfer energy. The word called transducer means transform energy from one form to another form. So, example, microphone, you're going to transform sound that you pick up to electrical signal. Of course, we do, because of course, this may have studied in your secondary school, but it's not important. And of course, it's also not important in exam, in TMA, or online quiz because you want to be tested. Okay, the most important thing you switch through past year TMA that going to release soon in next month is talking about more towards beyond that in terms of calculation, in terms of understanding, in terms of how sound is being made use of rather than how sound is being produced. Okay, so microphone, everyone should be part of your go through before daily life. Example, you participate in singing competition, you need a microphone to sing. Okay, so a microphone itself actually is to detect sound signal from your vocal cord, maybe not from vocal cord, maybe from other places. This is a sound in. Okay, so and the purpose is to produce an electrical representation of the sound in. And the medium here actually is what we call transducer. Okay, transducer because it transforms from sound to electrical signal. Therefore, it's transducer. Okay, transform sound, transducer, then we transform sound to another energy. This is what we call transducer. Okay, transform to another form. And what other form? Basically, it's an electrical representation of voltage and current, which proportion to the sound signal. That is the meaning of microphone. Okay, of course, we are not going to pick up, not going to test you on the how it being transformed. This just sit back and relax, not important. So this one no need me to call 3 times. No need. This just sit back and relax. Okay, just listen that this how it being generated out. Okay, so what you do here means that basically the sound pressure level down here, SPL, cause vibrations on this wire in the sea of magnets. This is a magnet, okay? A magnet, and this magnet create magnetic field. Okay, just like a magnet, like pole attract, unlike pole, dispel, unlike pole attract. So this is a kind of magnet and this kind of wire, electrical wire. So when there's a pressure on this so-called wire, there is pressure means there's movement. This movement will disrupt this magnetic field, and once disrupt this magnetic field, it produce electrical field. And this electrical field is in tandem with the sound pressure level. If the sound pressure level is loud, then the electrical signal will be loud. Okay, so this is how it been transformed. Okay, from SPL to electrical signal. Of course, we are not going to learn the physics of it. We just need to know, or rather, no need to know. We just recall. If you, in the night you cannot sleep, maybe today you insomnia, you cannot sleep because you drink too much coffee to listen to my lecture, then maybe you can go through YouTube, go through some textbook you have. Not an importance, you read through it, or even to the study guide, you'll know that because of this magnet is always there. There's magnetic field, but because of this sound pressure level, cause this wire to move. Once move means disrupt the magnetic field. Once disrupt magnetic field, we create an electrical field, and this electrical field will be this one. Okay, that's all. In a very layman term, called microphone. Okay, and microphone itself, actually, as you know, microphone and speaker is about the same thing, except one is changing from sound to electrical, the other one changing from electrical to sound. But then, similarly, there's many types of microphone. This is maybe important. Oh yeah, I think your friend remind me. Okay, so your friend did remind me on some of the occasion, some that is tested in TMA. TMA so far, we haven't touched which portion. TMA have not come in yet. Okay, TMA we're not going to test this, but the online quiz October, I think there's some portion you need to test it. Some portion, just I forgot to mention, you definitely need to know, which more of you will already know, okay, is that you definitely need to know what is longitude and so-called longitude wave and so-called transfer wave. Okay, this is very important. First concept. Then of course you need to know that longitudinal wave is parallel direction of propagation. The directions of the vibration is parallel. Then transfer wave is 90 degrees apart. This one, and of course sound need a medium. Definitely your online quiz may test you in October. Of course, we'll come back later when you close your online quiz. And of course, microphone. This part here may be important for your online quiz because we are talking about how well sound is being captured by microphone. When we say that it's omnidirection, means that sound come from here, come from every direction. It is equally received well. Okay, just like your handphone, nowadays in the old day, handphone got antenna. The antenna in the old day Motorola design handphone, the antenna itself, certain direction receive out, certain direction didn't receive out. But in today's technology, iPhone or Samsung phone, any so-called signal coming in, it can pick up in all direction. Wow, this is what I call omnidirection. But in some of the microphone or even your handphone, it may only pick up well in this direction within this region of 131. Behind one here, it cannot receive. And super cardio means that it can receive well within this 115 degrees. Signal come here, it can receive well. But signal come back from the back here, cannot receive at all. So also we have something called bidirectional, means that it can receive well on the tops and from the bottom, but it cannot receive here, cannot. From the left and right, it cannot receive well. That is what I call bidirection. Is it okay for Irene? Yeah. This may be important for your online quiz. Okay, is there a way to remember between cardio? I believe your online quiz, no need to, it's not a closed book, right? Online quiz using computer, right? So there's no need to memorize at all. Okay, the way to remember between cardio, supercardio, and hypercardio, right? If you want to remember, is that you can see cardio itself, the angle is bigger. Then as you go to super, go to hyper means, example, hypertension. You just treat it as high blood pressure. Okay, if you want to relate to human, you can see here, maybe this is a normal pressure. Okay, and this is super, then this is hyper pressure. Okay, something like that. Okay, hypertension. This hypertension obviously more nervous. More nervous means compressed. So the range being received is narrow. Okay, just like illustration. If you want to really remember, but of course online quiz no need to remember. Yeah, because you have laptop, then you have beside you. I don't think it's a lockdown browser. You can take a look at your note. Okay. Okay, I just make a simple analogy. I think should be able to work in terms of memorizing. Okay. Okay, so I think thank you. Then the other transducer that we're going to talk about is loudspeaker. Just now we use microphone. Microphone, when you sing, it pick up from your vocal cord. Okay, vocal cord, which is a sound pressure level, and convert electrical signal. Okay, and then transmit for manipulations. Okay, then on the other hand, loudspeaker is the reverse. It transforms the electrical signal all the way to sound to be heard by human. So therefore, it's a reverse actions. And this reverse action actually, of course, not important. You no need to know how it works. You may study in the secondary school, science, physics, but it's not important. You just need to know is similar. You make use of the electromagnetic wave. So similar, you always have a magnet. Okay, here is a magnet, then use a wire. So in this case here, because there is just now we say that because of the sound pressure level, the sound air particle cause the wire to be got motion. One got motion, they disrupt the magnetic field. Here on the reverse, because this is a wired, okay, this is a wired here. You can see this is a wired. There is an electrical signal traveling, sine wave or whatever wave sound. Then this sound itself, electrical signal actually is an electrical signal, is an electrical field. It will disrupt the magnetic field. So this electrical field and the magnetic field interact, cause motion. Okay, cause motion. Once cause motion, it cause so-called cause vibrations in these diaphragms, and this diaphragm will cause it to so-called disrupt the air particle and sound travel out. Okay, that is what we call that convert electrical signal to sound. Okay, everything is talking about motion. Okay, and everything is talking about magnetic field react with electrical field and vice versa to produce the motion, or motion produce the field. Okay, so early on, the microphone is motion interact with the magnetic field, produce the electrical signal. Right now, it's the electrical signal interact with the magnetic field. The magnet itself produce a motion. When you produce a motion, you disturb the air particle surrounding, and of course, sound can travel out. Just like you play guitar, once you play guitar, you strike the string, or you play the violin, you have this so-called rod, and pull it, the motion itself disrupt the air particle, it create the sound. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, and maybe 3 more slide. Okay, quickly. So of course, this gives you the summary. So like this is the bring the drum. Okay, the drum itself. In the old day, the drum is also made out of wood, but nowadays, sometimes a certain part of the drum is made out of metal to be more sexy. So regardless what, it's still a solid piece of material. So once you use the drum to hit, you can see that it causes disruption to the air particle in the air, and this air particle take the energy all the way out. Okay, and then it is being picked up by this microphone, and because all this air particle cause sound pressure level, it disrupt the so-called the motion of this so-called wire, and once wire move, it disrupt this magnetic field, and once disrupt this magnetic field, it produce electrical field, which is representative of the drum signal. And of course, with that, you manipulate this drum. This drum sound can become a piano sound. This drum sound can become a guitar sound, whatever you want to manipulate with this electrical signal. And later on, you go back again. Okay, go back again. So go back to something called loudspeaker. And this loudspeaker, because you got the wire that carry electrical signal, and you also still have a magnet, electrical signal interact with magnetic field, then it produce a motion, disrupt the air particle, and then produce out. Okay, and then of course helped by the human. Of course, in topic 3 or topic 4, or rather topic 4, we'll talk about the ear structure of the human. Okay, that is later on. So this is from sound to microphone. From microphone, manipulate, become speaker, and produce sound out. So this is the whole series of sound system. And of course, last but not least, before we call a short break, is that sound pressure level, as mentioned, if this is you, of course, you're much beautiful and handsome than this guy here. So when you sing the song, you pick up by this microphone. This microphone convert from sound to electrical signal. If you use a device called oscilloscope, you can measure that this electrical representation of what this guy is singing. Okay, and this is the electrical analogy of sound pressure level, which can use using oscilloscope. And this is the same pattern. The fluctuation is in tandem with what you sing. Okay, or what you sing that cause the vibration of the air particle. Okay, and this is the last slide before we call a short break, is that for those playing music, definitely will be familiar. Like you play a guitar, or play a violin, play a piano, you can see that normally for those is very good in music, they will know that example, to convert to electrical representation, how loud is the music, how loud is the music, how loud is the piano. Actually, in the electrical representation, it's called amplitude. In the next slide, we will talk about that after a short break. Then, how sharp is your pitch? Okay, to us, we say pitch. So ladies have high pitch because it have high frequency. Okay, men have low pitch, very rough voice because the frequency is very low. Yeah, and of course, some of you, maybe you are music very good. Your ear is able to differentiate two type of frequency. Therefore, this is what you call timbre. A timbre itself will tell you that can you differentiate two sound of the same loudness but different pitch. Of course, example, I say do re mi fa sol. The simple one, do re mi fa sol. Do is one frequency, re is one frequency. But then in terms of timbre, these two may be very close together. If you are your ear is very good in differentiate sound, you can able differentiate these two type of so-called sound, or what you call pitch. So in short, a pitch is a representation of how sharp, how high is the signal and how low is the signal. And loudness, this one no need to say. This slide also important for your so-called online quiz. Okay. 2 months, 3 months down the road. Okay. So therefore, you should know that what is pitch. Later on, you will be getting more familiar. Pitch means high frequency, which the ladies have. Low pitch means male normally have. Low frequency. Loudness, don't need to explain, very intuitive, means loud sound. Loud SPL means loud sound. Low SPL means low sound. And of course, industrial representation is called amplitude. Timbre, as the name applies, is the quality of sound by which a listener can differentiate two sound of the same loudness, but the pitch is different, which means two frequency. Okay, so maybe this one half hour heavy for you. Maybe we can call a 15 minutes break. Then we come back for a short while. Hopefully it's not heavy for you. So let's call 15 minutes break. And we come back later to continue. Is it okay? Can take a short toilet break, drink some water, etc. Okay, see you later. Is everyone there? Okay, good. Okay, okay, everyone is back. So let's go into something maybe more technical, maybe more slightly more challenging, but I hope that I can clarify the concept well. Okay, of course, you get stuck or you may not understand well, please stop me that I will explain more in clarity with diagram or even video, etc. Okay, so make sure that you understand well. And this part here, yeah, at this point of time, this part may not need for beside your PCQ, which you have done. It may not need for your online quiz and EMA. Okay, so or even exam. Yeah. So let's talk about, because everything in this world, we human is very ambitious. Maybe let's start. We human are very ambitious. We like to manipulate nature. As you know, we human like to manipulate natures and work according to what we wish for. Regardless is from power supply, water, energy, sound. We try to manipulate nature and to our advantage. Similar here, since we know how sound is being arises, because it's a kind of longitude wave and need a medium. So right now, we need to capture it and through something what we call microphone. Okay, so when you capture it with a microphone and convert into an electrical signal, we must have the ability to transform to whatever form that we want, or not whatever format that we, not format, but quantity or quality that we want. So for example, I want to transform a male voice to a female voice or female voice to a male voice. It can be easily done. And this also how cyber attack scammer come in, because they already possess the technology to transform different types of voice quality to represent someone else that is very close to you to scam you. Yeah. So and therefore this is what we call a technology scammer. And because in order to represent or transform sound to what we wish for, we need to understand the electrical representation. Just now we say that it transform using microphone from sound to electrical. Now that's it. But we do not know how to manipulate this electrical signal. And this is the next topic that I want to cover for the next half an hour or so. Yeah. So in order to manipulate it, we need to understand the sound pressure level that convert to electrical. Just now we mentioned that sound pressure level through a series of compressions, refractions, compression, refractions, okay, for the sound pressure level. It can be easily transformed, sound pressure level. It can easily transform from high to low in the electrical representations. Okay, this is sound level. This is the electrical. Of course, that time we didn't mention how this sine wave in the electrical, how to represent that. So of course, some of you may understand what you learned in your secondary school, science if you recall, or even in your maths. We always use some sine wave, okay? But of course, if you don't understand, never mind. It's not really that important. You just need to know how it exists, and later on, the purpose is for us to manipulate, okay? So from here, you can see that a sine wave that is converted to from a sound pressure level electric signal is represented by something called amplitude. The axis here, y-axis is called amplitude. We call amplitude. It represents similar to sound pressure level. The higher the amplitude mean is the louder sound. So for example, you can see that it represents by a highest point is called A, represent the compression in the sound pressure level way. Then the lowest level is minus A in the represent is equivalent to the so-called reflection, that means the relaxation. So therefore, you have the top and the bottom, the deep. Okay, so you can see there's a series of up to 0, then down, and then up. So down here, if you see here clearly, you can intuitively understand that, or visually, you can see there is, this seems to be some repetitive wave, because you can see that here is one, after a series of, after one up and down, it repeat again up and down. Okay, so this repeat again after up and down, it repeat again up and down. So this is what we call in physics way or maths way, we call it cycle. So you represent one cycle. After one cycle, you repeat again, becomes second cycle. It repeat again, become third cycle. So it's one cycle, two cycle, three cycle. And in a very mathematical way, we say the completion of one cycle is called period. Okay, this timing from here to here is called period. Okay, because the x-axis here is represented in terms of time. Okay, and of course the amplitude here, later you know, is represented in terms of something called voltage, volt. Okay, just like your battery. If you buy battery, those AAA is 1.5 volt. 1.5 volt, or those square B type one is, I think, is 3 volt. Okay, so volt means the energy. Of course, we're not going to electrical. You just need to know the amplitude itself can represent by electrical representation called volt, just like your battery. AAA battery, if you take out your AAA battery, you can see the AAA battery, you go to cold storage, go to 7-Eleven, it's taking that, can I buy a AAA battery, you go to see the AAA battery is 1.5 volt. Okay, you put two battery together, become 3 volt. Okay, so and the volt means that how much energy you can transmit out. So similar here, volt itself represent the energy. In electrical signal, it represent the energy. So therefore, A is the highest, A volt is the highest values. The lowest value is minus A. Okay, so for one cycle, for human, you're correct. It will go from 0 all the way to A, then go to 0 again, which is B, then go to minus A, then go to 0. So for one cycle, it range from 0 to A to 0, 0 to minus A, and eventually 0. So this, therefore you can see 0, A, B, minus A, and C. Is it okay for human? Then you repeat again for second cycle. The whole thing repeat again. Yeah. Is it okay? And one cycle, how fast, how long this one cycle lasts, we use a term called period to determine. And this period is called tau. Okay, this tau, if you want to pronounce, is called tau. T-A-U, tau. It's a Roman wording called tau. Tau represent period. Period represent how fast this one cycle lasts. Okay, so like if you go overseas frequently, or you buy if you now take at your fan, laptop power charger, you realize that it run at 50 hertz. Okay, yeah, your first three letter of your name called tau is a period of one cycle. Okay, and this period eventually will lead to something called frequency. So this frequency is something that you have see day-to-day life. As of course, you may not see it is there ready for you every day, but maybe you did not observe, is your power supply. Do you have 50 hertz power supply? If you plug to your shipping plug. If you go Singapore, China, Thailand, maybe 50 hertz. But if you go Japan, go US, it will be so-called 60 hertz. Later on, we'll talk about what is hertz. Okay, so hertz means that how many cycles per second. Okay, of course, the mathematical formula is this guy here. I will not talk about that. This is the mathematical formula that represents this sine wave. Okay, so I have a signal. This is a signal called x. This whole signal is called x. It's equals to the highest amplitude is called A. And it's a sine wave. This sine wave means that in mathematical sense, it means that it will repeat here up and down, up and down. And what is the so-called, we don't talk about 2 pi first, we talk about because it's represent in terms of in terms of x-axis called t. So therefore it's called t, okay, because we represent this as a t. Later on, we'll come back to you. We'll definitely use your name, first letter called tau, because we need this called period, okay? And of course, we have this terminology called f. F represents frequency, which we will see next slide, is a function of periods. And of course, because everything in mathematical sense, we like to manipulate to according what we want. So we have learned something in your past mathematical in the early days, we call gradient pi. So therefore, everything must translate to something called 2 pi. Okay, but in the real world, this world is a 4-dimension world. As you know, the real world is a 4-dimension world. Whatever capture right now you see is a real world. It's always respect in terms of time. The whole world is 4-dimension, 3D plus time. Okay, is equals to the real world. Okay, so therefore, time 3D means what? Length times breadth times the depth. Okay, therefore you got 3D. Okay, 3D. So therefore you got 3D. Example, right now, if you last time your TV is if you go to watch cinema, now cinema is 2D, only left is only this way, 2D. Example, right now the start you see is 2D because you only have left and right 2D. But you have the depth, okay, then you can see it's a 3D. So like human, if you know that if you are representing 3D, actually I will able to see are you fat or thin, okay, whether your waist is thick or not. Of course, 2D also can see you thick or fat lah, but then 3D is much more realistic because you can see your dummy. Okay, so therefore we need the depth. Okay, so normally 3D have length, breadth, and depth. Okay, that's 3D TV, 3D movie, and of course, to this world talking about time, whether 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, therefore everything is about 4D world. Okay, and human like to manipulate with maths, and therefore we can represent this sine wave as a maths. Okay, in terms of time, in terms of frequency, okay, in terms of amplitude. But why 2 pi? Because in the early day, mathematician not importance, just treat it as a story. Sometimes I say story, so you may feel me very long-winded sometimes because sometimes I would like to talk about story. So story means that mathematicians like to represent things easily as a circle. Okay, so if you know one circle is 2 pi. Okay, so they like to represent as a circle. Left, this is 180 degrees, is considered pi. One turn go back is 360 degrees, consider 2 pi. Okay, so 1 round. So similarly, eventually they want to represent signal as a signal as 2 pi because it's more easy, because this one you can see that it's like a circle, this waveform, from beginning to the end back to 0. So I can start from this point here, eventually go back to 1 round and go back to the origin. So like a circle, so 2 pi. So if you go and press your calculator, the other thing I need to maybe when you start to do TMA, you need to buy some calculator. So this calculator I have post on the canvas what kind of calculator you buy. Okay, you can buy cheap, can buy expensive, you can buy scientific calculator. that have a lot of function. Formula you can insert in also can, up to you. So school didn't stop you, you also can. Okay, there's many type of form calculator that you can invest in. So this course need calculator. I put some. I will go back. I will revisit that, or rather, I will mention that in the next lecture to invest a calculator. And of course, right now, if you have a calculator, even using iPhone, you press sine 2 pi, it equals to 0. Okay, this is just a story. Okay, you press sine calculator, sine 0, it give you 0. If you press sine pi, which is this point here, it will give you value of 1. You press sine, or rather you press sine pi over 2, which is 90 degrees, it give you 1. You press 2 pi, you go to 0. You press 2 pi, you go to 0 also. But you press 3 pi over 2, it give you -1. So therefore, mathematicians like to express something as this way. Of course, not important, but you just need to know that a sine wave can represent as this formula. A, amplitude, multiplied by sine 2 pi ft. F is the frequency and T is the timing. And of course, we only make use some of this information, which next slide, you can see that just now back to tau, you can see that frequency is a function of tau. So for example, frequency in short means that how many cycle per second. Okay, so how many cycle per second? So example, if you all your laptop, or your PC, or your all your so-called appliances, electrical appliances, it is a function of frequency. Okay, so example, if you go and see, it's 50 hertz. Okay, this means that actually within 1 second, you have 50 cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, all the way repeat until 50 cycle. So down here got 50 of these cycle. Therefore, it's called 50 hertz. Therefore, when you buy power supply or buy laptop, you can see your charger say this is a 50 hertz charger because you plug into your 3-pin plug. It is operating, your laptop is operating, taking a signal of 50 hertz. Okay, that means 50 sine wave up and down. Similarly, in Wi-Fi, if you see this term called Wi-Fi 2.4 gig, it means that there is 2.4 times 10 to the power 9 example cycle. Okay, or this is what we call 2.4 gig for Wi-Fi. It means that there is 2.4 times 10 to the power cycle in 1 second. Okay, so this, and of course, if you want use to tau to determine, basically tau is equal to 1 over f. Okay, so which means that, example, you press calculator, tau is equals to, if your power supply is 50 hertz, okay, it means that we'll go to that when do our MATLAB simulation during the lab sessions. You press your calculator, you will see that we will have 1 divided by 50. You have equals to 0.02 second. Every 0.02 second, it complete one cycle. Okay. Down here is 0.02 second. And then it continue another cycle. Finish it 0.04 second. And the end, you continue all the way until 1 second. Okay, there's 50 of this. Is it okay for Irene? And for Yan Ting, yeah, A is always positive and negative. So to repeat, when I draw this waveform, sine wave is always up and down. Okay, the highest value is called A. The lowest value is called minus A. Okay. So example, this is 5, this will be -5. This is 10, this will be -10. Okay. And it's represented by A sine 2 pi ft. If you press a calculator, sometimes it's positive A, sometimes it's negative A, depend at which part of the time. Is it okay for Yan Ting? Yeah, for I read for written exam will be formula be given to us or have to memorize. Because it's a closed book under SUSS, it say that it's a closed book. So therefore, use some formula because closed book, it means that formula will not be given. Some of formula you need to memorize. Of course, when it come to that, you always can use TMA to know which formula you need to memorize. Okay, so no need to cry. The guideline is TMA will tell you which formula to memorize. Now TMA is open book, you can do it at your home or whatever, but then from there, you roughly know you don't need to study everything. Okay. Yeah, this is what I told by the school. This is a closed book exam. Yeah. Okay, no worry. Okay. So of course, as long you know what to memorize, it basically you can close eye already. Okay. To a certain extent. Yeah. So of course, back to here, let's quickly talk about how human can, what kind of frequency human can hurt. Okay, so for example, for human, we only can hit 20 hertz to 2000 hertz, which means that within 1 second, you can hit 20 cycle for those signal that have 20 cycle, up to 20,000, 20 kilohertz. 20K means 20 kilohertz. Okay. So therefore, within a second, there's 20,000 sine wave. Within a second, this type of signal you can hurt. That's for human, 20 hertz to 20K. But then other not within this range, you cannot hurt. That will be the animal range, unless you are superhuman, like Superman, Superwoman. That's different thing. If not, the rest will be animal range already. Okay. So like infrasonic is the range for elephant. Elephant use something below 20 hertz to talk. Okay, so if you go to zoo, of course, I don't know whether you can, are you able to hurt elephant range? So you go to zoo, maybe the Mantai Zoo, you can see 2 elephants maybe talking to each other using below 20 hertz. Okay. So this is anything below 20 hertz is called infrasonic. And this is how elephant talk to each other that can range in terms of kilometer. So the lower frequency you have, the longer range of communications. So elephant can talk to another elephant few kilometers away. But for you, you cannot. Okay, your voice is always around this range, which is human range, which is cannot travel far one. Okay, cannot be traveling. Even travel to 10 meter also got problem already. Okay, because your range limited you. Then there's other range called ultrasonic. Okay, it's above 20K. This is the range whereby people, not people, sorry, not people, like animal like dog, cat, especially bat, used to communicate, especially bat use this ultrasonic to communicate in the dark. They can navigate. Example, you go to cave, right? You see all this movie, or maybe you already go to a cave, you can see the bat flying around in the dark because they are using this ultrasonic range transmit out to navigate. Okay, so this is a range for bat, cat, dog, etc. Okay, unless you can talk their language. Okay, and of course, for those ladies that is pregnant, normally you go to clinic, right? For during your pregnancy periods, you want to store your baby inside your body. This also the range where your doctor, your gynae, try to use some device, apply some gel, and then from there, roll can see the baby inside your body. And this is because they transmit at ultrasonic. Okay, ultrasonic is at above 20K. Anything below that, anything in between is human. Example, your Blackpink, for those like Korea one, your the other lady called what? I forgot the name. That is very popular one, US one. I didn't go and attend. I forgot her name already. Is it suddenly I forgot, never mind. So very popular. She sing, and of course within this range, okay? So therefore, all the singer, all the music is within this 20 hertz to 20K, okay, for concert or for whatever thing. Yeah, for human. And this one is important. Okay, this piece of information. And maybe next time I try to put, I forgot, I try to put this one as a star for you to remember, especially for those that want to do online quiz. Wow, okay. So you should know human range from this range or not. Okay. And of course, phrase is not important. Phrase is talking about move left, move right. So just now, maybe some ask me, I think some ask me is that it can be from 0 to A to 0 to minus A and 0. This is a pure sine wave, whereby it's A sine cosine, A sine 2 pi ft. Okay, this is a standard formula. But however, if the wave shift, instead of starting point 0, it may start at maybe here. This is a popular something what you call cosine wave. This cosine wave is actually called A cosine. Of course, it's not important, just to tell you about what is phase shearing. Okay, and actually it's equals to A sine is shift by 90 degrees. Okay, plus 90 degree. Because this is what we call phase shift. So therefore, it's slightly shift forward. Therefore, this part here shift to here. Therefore, it advanced by 90 degrees. X represent a signal. You can call Y, call Z, up to you. So for human, you can call X, Y, Z, whatever name that you want to call. So S just representation. Is it okay? You also can call it V, call it S, up to you. It's just a symbol to represent this is a waveform. Is it okay? X itself not measure waveform. X represent this waveform. X itself is a example. Is similar in your maths. Okay. Maybe I have a A. A is equals to 1 plus 1. Okay. Equals to 2. So A is a symbol, or 1 plus 3 equals to 3. So it's just a symbol. Okay. So X itself, similar here, is just a symbol to represent this signal. Okay. So of course here is in terms of correct for Han Xuan. Okay, very good. This is so this is S itself is in this case called voltage. Okay, volts. You want to represent the so-called the values. Okay, S is eventually voltage because it represent the amplitude. Okay, so F itself is in terms of hertz. Okay, F is in terms of hertz. You based on previous slide, F is in terms of hertz. This in terms of second. Then V is in terms of volts. Okay, of course, I will go to that later on. Then A itself, this sine wave multiplied together become no units, and therefore eventually become volts. Is it okay, everyone? Or Han Xuan, okay? Good. And of course, S is just a symbolic representation. Example, A equals to 1 plus 2 equals to 3. That's all. It's just a way to have a symbol down there. Okay. You can like X, it can be just as I say, X can be equals to 1 plus 1 equals to 2. Okay, it's just a symbol to represent something. So here S can be just represent this signal, and this signal is represented by this formula, and the so-called the unit is called volts. Okay, if okay, let's move on. Today a bit slow because this lecture 1, I want to go slow. Yeah. So not to concuss you. Yeah, so can you see here? This is a waveform. So there's 4 waveform, okay, at this. Of course, this is just give you not tested, just give you some physical representation what is going on. If you see here, this signal, okay, waveform A, okay, called X. This signal is called waveform Y. Okay, for waveform 2, you can see that the dotted line represent the X in this waveform 2. Okay, so you can see that waveform 1 is this X. Okay. Then for waveform 2, it slightly shift little bit to the right because it's here. Okay, this is a blue color. This waveform is called Y. Okay, there's a shift, and because it's delay, after the zero start later. Okay, but if you compare to the red one, which is a dotted line, you can see that the dotted line advance earlier. The zero start earlier. This guy here start later. So basically, waveform 2 and waveform 1 is the same, except that it delay by 90 degrees. Okay. So this waveform 2. Of course, waveform 3 is similar to waveform 1, except the amplitude here may be called A, and maybe I say this one may be 5, or maybe I do put a 10. This one may be -10, up and down 10 and -10. But this one smaller, maybe I don't know, maybe call it 2 and -2. The A is 2 and -2. So slightly small loudness or small voice. This more loud, this less loud for waveform 3. But it's similar to X, except it's more soft in terms of amplitude. Then waveform 2 is similar to waveform 1, except it shift to the right, delay through the phase 90 degree. Then waveform 4, slightly different. The frequency is faster because if you say this one as 1 second, example, you use this one as 1 second, here's 1 second, you can see that this one, the hertz is higher because using here as 1 second, you can see that this one only 1 cycle, 2 cycle, 3 cycle. This guy here is 3 hertz because within 1 second, only 3 cycle. But this guy here, I don't know how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So this 15 hertz because within 1 second, there is 15 cycle. Okay, so therefore, this one run faster than the first one. Is it okay for Han Xuan? Okay, good. Okay. And of course, human is so smart. Of course, not me. I'm not smart, but in the early days, scientists very smart, and because they eager to make life easy for human, for themselves. As you know, human is very smart because they try to make things as easy as ABC. So they mathematically come up a concept called frequency spectrum. Because you can see here, using sine wave in terms of time is very messy. You need to draw. You know that this 3 cycle per second. This even worse, this 15 cycle per second. And the other one, maybe example, you say your Wi-Fi 2.4 gig, 2.4 times 10 to the power 9 cycle. If you really want to draw by yourself, or you use whatever thing to draw, you have so many up and down, very messy, especially when the signal is so lousy, so noisy. Drawing in terms of time domain, this everything in terms of time. Our real world is always in terms of length, breadth, depth, and time. But then this real world dimension is so messy, very hard to visualize. So some smart scientists, maybe you can represent in terms of another domain. After you manipulate, you go back to the real one. So some people come back, use this so-called come out this concept called frequency spectrum. Just now you know that we have a signal called X equals to A sine 2 pi f. Okay, T. You remember the F is the so-called period. Example, I draw 2 cycle. This is maybe this is the period called tau. This period is called period. If recall, and of course I say that perhaps I think this is in terms of 1 second. Okay, so in terms of 1 second, because there's 2 cycle, F is equals to 2 hertz. Okay, and of course, if you say that tau is the period, which means that 1 divided by 2, 1 divided by F equals to 1 divided by 2 equals to 0.5. So every 0.5 second, it repeat by itself. Okay, every 0.5 second. So you see here is 0.5, 1 cycle, another 0.5, 1 cycle, finish it. So the numbers of cycle is 2 hertz. So instead of drawing these 2, okay, maybe some scientists feel that drawing 2 cycle also very leceh, not very leceh, very so-called troublesome, and course maybe very tedious to understand. Might as well come up and of course the amplitude here is called A and minus A. So some smart scientists, maybe I draw in another domain called frequency, because frequency here very simple. You can calculate is 2. So I draw this amplitude and this frequency. Instead of plotting amplitude and time, I plot between amplitude and frequency and 1 spike. That's all. Okay. F. So is it more easy to represent? And 1 spike means 1 frequency. Is it more easy? If you are lazy, you feel that this may be more intuitive. And of course, 99.99% of people are lazy, human lazy, so they prefer to draw 1 spike than this guy here. Okay, unless you are the extraordinary one, you may want to do this way. But this way may not be able to easy to analyze. If you go into other topic, in terms of analyze in time domain is the worst nightmare. But analyze in terms of frequency spectrum, just 1 spike is very easy to understand. And this is also why eventually to change male to female, female to male, a female voice to male, or male voice to a cat sound, elephant sound also can be done if you know this frequency spectrum. Is it okay for human and cow? Yeah, or Irene? So this is very important, especially when it comes to TMA. If okay, we move on. Okay. Of course, today you maybe received a lot of new informations, take some time to digest, but rest assured, as long as time go by, especially you start to attempt TMA, things is very smooth for you. And this is a level 2 course, should not be too tough. And of course, it will be more calculation based. And as long you know how to do it, this should be a bigger tips for you. Okay, if okay, let's move on to the next one. So this beautiful thing, you can see that now, maybe you start to see some light out of tunnel. You can see that instead of you see here, if this is a signal, I have F, 3F, 5F, means that actually this signal consists of one sine wave at F, another sine wave at 3F, another sine wave at 5F. So actually this signal is maybe in time domain very messy, example up and down, very messy. But if you analyze in the frequency domain, it may be simply consists of 3 sine wave, one getting faster, and this one even more faster, 3 add together. Actually, the frequency component is F, 3F, 5F. Okay, so and of course the amplitude is A1, A2, A3. More easy to understand. Drawing 3 spike is much more easy drawing all these messy sine wave that combine together. We are able to visualize that when it comes to the lab, to MATLAB. Okay. So, and later I think there's few to combine, correct. So yeah, so correct. So of course, slowly, of course, today we're not finishing all the slide. At most, we finishing up to 30 plus to full stop because today should be. MATLAB is a software that SUSS purchase and they will pass to you. But of course, because you're MTD student, you'll be able to download it and access on a laptop only on certain day. After that, they may not give you license because MTD student only able to use it for certain time. It's just for appreciations, visualization only. Yeah, unless you're a pure engineering student, they will give you not forever, but perpetual license until you graduate from SUSS. Yeah. Okay. This is what been told lah. Okay. Yeah. But of course, I'm not the one to promote. Okay. Don't quote me. You should know. There's a lot of software you can because MATLAB is a expensive software. That piece of software can be up to 100K one. So every license can be 100K, depend what you download. Okay. So it's a very expensive license. And of course, this also lead into last time why now all these data science MATLAB can use to do AI one, but because it's so expensive, people start to use all these free license called Python. Okay, and of course, I will teach you. Of course, I don't teach you. I cannot teach you. MATLAB actually, you is up to you. There is many out there software you can get one. Okay, so by default as a student, you should get a official type of official license of MATLAB to be used on a laptop. Okay, but of course, some student may get an official one. Of course, if you want to free license, you can get something called Octave. Okay, which will come to that later. It's a free license for students. Okay, that looks similar in MATLAB if you really want to go into detail. Of course, we only have one lab, so it doesn't matter. So frequency spectrums for human voice audio is example for those playing with music. As know just now you say that we know that human range from 20 to 20K. But we human, especially those playing music, we split sound into many levels, into many range. Those playing with music, playing with sound, you will know that what is bass, double bass, upper bass, timbre. So low frequency is range from 20 to 320 hertz. Okay, and then this portion here is the human intelligibility. It range from 320 to 5K, and of course, especially for those playing music, high frequency timbre, it range from 5K to 20K. Of course, this one no need to memorize. Okay, not important unless you are so-called avid type of musicians, then you will know. And this is more important in terms of understanding that say that if many waveform add together will become what? Okay, so assuming that this is something that we learned in early day school. Okay, for those forgot, never mind. There's something what we call superposition of wave. The word superposition means add two waves together, and when you add two waves together, it may cause interference called disruptive and constructive. So example, I have waveform A1, then we have waveform A2, okay, there's smaller amplitude. Then you have waveform A3, there's smaller amplitude. Then you got waveform A4 and A5. So you can see that if you combine all these waveforms together, sometimes it add up together. So for example, maybe let me remove this one to illustrate that. Maybe this slide is not good to illustrate using this slide. You can see that, example, this is the waveform 1, up and down, up and down, up and down. Then you plus waveform 2, arises from here, waveform 2. You can see that this waveform 1 plus waveform 2, waveform 2 is running faster than waveform 1 because within one cycle, waveform 2 already have 1 cycle, 2 cycle, and about more than 2.5 cycle. Okay, so because it stopped here. Okay, waveform 1 when waveform 1 had 1 cycle, waveform 2 already run 2.8 times past 2.8 times of it already. You have 2.8 times higher frequency than waveform 1. Okay, so if these two add together, you can see that this is negative. At the negative below 0, this is 0 point. Okay, and below will be maybe A minus A. This may be minus, this is plus A. So this at the negative side, this at the positive side. These two combined together, you can see the amplitude drop. Okay, so be at the negative side. Okay, it's supposed to be at the negative, very low, but because it add in the positive, it's slightly pushed toward the 0. This is what we call interference, add together. So if you add in all become positive, example this part here. Okay, example this part here. This here it become positive plus positive. It add in what we call constructive interference because it add together. The word here is called constructive interference. Because add together. You don't destroy. Okay. Because it's plus plus. Down here is different because one is negative, one is positive, and now is something I call destructive because it try to cancel out each other to become 0. Okay, destructive. Not say destructive. Okay, the word is called constructive and destructive. If two combine together in the same direction, it's called constructive. If two signal add together, both is coming from a different direction, it's called destructive. Okay. And is it okay for traffic? And you can see from this picture, actually it's not nice if you want to analyze in time because too messy. Right now you can see that it's too messy. I need to draw up and down, too messy. If represent frequency, it's so beautiful. It just draws spike only. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, maybe since we have a little bit time, maybe I just want to write off by starting to introduce something called electron system. Okay, leave me maybe about 10 minutes. I think I try to finish page 30, maybe 5, then we close it. Okay, so we sufficient for 10 minutes. Okay, so right now the other topic before we close it is what we call electronic system. Of course, maybe it depends on ladies. Ladies, maybe some of them like to play with amplifier at home, make the living room TV sound system very loud. Those that like to play sound system, be guy or boy, if you like to play sound system, this topic is for you. Okay, at home. And this also a topic to tell you sometime all these so-called salesman is trying to smoke you, trying to convince you to buy expensive systems that is useless if they boost some spec. Okay, because your ear itself don't even able to listen. Okay, as you know, our ear only can tailor made to 20 to 20 kilohertz. If the salesman be whatever audio house, audio system, more be called Challenger or Harvey Norman, if you say that he's trying to sell you a systems that can work above 20 kilohertz, it means that he is either thinking you are Superman, Superwoman that can hurt anything beyond 20 kilohertz, like a bat, like a cat or dog. Else they'll treat you as an elephant that can listen to low frequency that below 20. Because you only can listen from 20 to 20 kilohertz, anything out of this range, totally useless to you. Okay. And we also will talk about MP3, MP4 in chapter 3 and 4 later on. How actually this MP3, MP4 is trying to fool your ear because your ear got some limitation. Okay. So of course here, electronic system. Electronic system is actually designed by human. It consists of all the electrical parts, software programming that can change the representations of signal in some way. Example, just I mentioned, male to female, female to male, or human to cat or dog sound also can be done one. And so you know how to manipulate. Okay, and amplification and attenuation, the word implied. If your example, you go to your iPhone or Samsung phone, you turn on the volume, means that amplification, you can hear louder than what your people is calling you, amplify the signal such that you can hear. And of course, attenuation, it means that you reduce the signal accordingly. This is what I call amplification and attenuation. Then filtering is something that just like I always say, I want to filter some frequency component. Okay, because female voice is high frequency, I destroy them and become a male frequency. Or I want to add some more frequency component to become an animal frequency. This can be done. This is what we call filtering. And of course, this is very popular, especially those drive in the days you drive to work, and you drive to work, then you drive from work to home. You always listen to your radio. Okay, all the Singapore radio FM 90.2 classical music, 92.4 classical music, and of course FM 90.5. Those listen to Chinese one is 93.3 or 97.2. All this is talking about translate the frequency to higher such that you can listen your popular DJ talking. Okay, so one thing, because you know that your human voice and music is only for 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Okay, but then this range cannot be transmit over to the air like DJ talking, like 93.3 or 92.4. All this classical music that receive from radio can only be this range. But then in order to transmit to air to your car, they need to translate to higher frequency, what we call 92.4 megahertz or 93.3 megahertz. Malay one, sorry, I'm not very sure. Indian one, also not very sure. I only know few of them, okay? And of course, the 90.5, the English one, yeah. All this is because it translates to a higher frequency, then transmit over the air and receive to your car or whatever thing, okay? For Malay, I think there's also some channel, India also some channel, okay? Forgive me if I do not know, okay? So, and of course, phase shifting means shift from one spectrum, one position to another position, just now we go through. Okay, so all the electrical systems, home system have this ability to do that. Okay. And in electrical systems, most of the time we will know that electric system, that your amplifier, home theater systems, or your sound system at home, or even the ceiling mats, they make sure that the system is a linear system. That means is that whatever I want to amplify, the output should be proportional to the input. Okay, this is superposition theorem, means that I try to amplify the signal, that's all. I change the signal, that's all. If I input 4 kilohertz, output should be, example, this input 4 kilohertz maybe 2 volts. I go to your systems, go in, output should be maybe 4 kilohertz. Maybe stronger sound, maybe 10 volts. Okay, linear system. But if the system go in is 4 kilohertz, 2 volt, but along the way it generate many frequency components, 4K, 8K, then this is a non-linear system, which are non-desirable. So this is also the part when you go to buy sound system in Challenger, in Harley Norman or Cort, you need to be careful. You end up buying a non-linear system because this is a 4K signal, you just want to amplify, become very lousy. Later on, following lecture, we'll talk about how to measure these performance of electronic systems. Okay, and of course, another concept that I want to introduce before we end it is the gain of the system. Just now I mentioned that I want to amplify 2 volt come in, the output may be 10 volt. So down here, it should amplify 5 times. Okay, so this is a gain of system because 2 times 5 give me 10. Okay, so this is supposed to be the gain of the system, G. So this means that system gain should be equals to output, what I get is 10, input is 2, so it amplified 5 times. Okay, so this is what I call gain of the system. Okay, So perhaps maybe give me. Do you want to finish P? Never mind. Maybe if you're okay, bear with me for 5 minutes. Let's finish this slide or slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah. Then we've close the lecture. Give me a while. So when you say just now I mentioned, the linear system means your system must be operating in here. For example, my input is certain values, go through this class linear system, you give you gain 2. So for example, my input is 2 volt. Okay, if I go to this gain, here is 2. So output here should be 4. Okay, so depend the game. Example, your voice, you turn on your volume. Your volume say that I go to gain equals to 1 means input output is the same. I input 2 volt, output also 2 volt. Okay, so this means that the volume control, no amplification. But if I turn on the volume, I say that I want to increase the sound double of time, double make more loudness 2 times. So input 2, it should get you 4. But if I want to reduce the signal, so softer voice, 0.5 means half of it. So 2 go in. If I go and project on the y-axis, here should be 1 only. So this is a linear system. You operate down here and down here. But non-linear system means that if your signal is too large, because amplifier is very cannot do wonder one. It only can accept maximum input. If anything, if the system say that this is the threshold, if your system that you buy amplifier say that at most input can only go up to 4 volt, okay? So by right 4 volt, you can reduce the voice to 4 times 0.5 is 2, okay? Then 4 times 1 is 1, 4. No change. If you want to increase the gain to 2, output will be 8 volt. But if you be stretched beyond, maybe you input 5 volt, 6 volt, it will not give you linear. It will not give you 5 times 2, but in fact, it always give you 8 because it's already saturated. Okay, so this is what it calls saturated because input is 5 over the limit already. Output only give you 8 because this is the limit. Similarly, on the left and right. Okay, so that is the linear system. Here is linear. If you operate your system in the linear region, it's linear. Here, this portion is non-linear. Non-linear. And this part also non-linear. Okay, because no matter what, how high your input, it always constrained to the maximum or minimum. That's all. This is what I mean. Okay, section A, B, C. And of course, let's close it with a final example because example will give you a better illustration for today's. So for example, just now, suppose the threshold is -3 and 3, which means the maximum input is 3 and -3 maximum. Then what happens if the input signal or amplitude 1 volt is applied to the system X? So threshold is 3 maximum, but your input is 1. So obviously, maximum is 2 because you will see this graph here. You say maximum is 3 and -3, but your input is 1. That means you work in the linear region. So you can see that if the input is 1, you will say that here is 3 and here is -3. But your input is 1, obviously, is 1, higher gain will be 2. So therefore, there is linearly amplification. So if you draw the plot, obviously, 2 volt output because your input is 1 volt. The red one is my input. Okay, you can linearly put this 1 and -1. Output, this red one is this is your output. Okay, sorry. So this is linearly. So another extreme is that whatever you over the limit. So over limit means that the limit is 3 and -3. But then you exceed the limit of 3, you go in 4. What will happen? So it means that if you see this graph here, back again, bear with me 1 minute before we close it. So right now it say that right now you have 4 vote. Okay, here is 3, but now here is 4. Okay, 4 vote. So if you go up here, you know that maximum is 3. 3 times 2 at maximum give you 6 vote. Okay, but then you exceed become 4, you will definitely will not go to 4 times 2. This formula 4 times 2 will not work. This formula 4 times 1 also will not work. This formula 4 times 0.5 also not work because it's one straight line. Straight. So that means you whatever voltage you apply beyond this 3, it always keep at 6. Okay, so this word means creep, and one creep means there's distortion. We will go through that in the following week. You can see that your signal is 4 volt. Okay, for example here, 4 volt. Very nice sine wave. Okay, although I didn't draw a perfect sine wave. 4 minus 4. By right, you should get 8, but then because of this limitation, you exceed the maximum of 3, therefore you always create 6. Therefore, you can see that this signal is no longer sine wave. This is a distortion waveform. Okay, and this signal distortion means that it's already saturated and distortion has occurred. And in the next lecture, we will go into take a look why this distortion, why it's not undesirable, because it generates extra frequency. Okay, so that's all for today I want to cover. Of course, we will go through the remaining slide that talk about HDD. So by the next lecture, once we finish, you're supposed to be ready to able to do your TMA question 1, which haven't released yet until mid of September. Okay, so that's all for today. Any question for Carl Human? Of course, Human got one question, which I didn't saw it. Okay, let me reply you. Irene, if both minus and minus still constructive, correct, Irene, because both add together to become more negative. Minus minus become more negative, therefore it's more constructive. Minus plus or plus minus is destructive because they try to cancel each other. Is it okay for Irene? Then for Human, yeah, 1 and minus 1 is destructive because 1 positive, 1 negative. But then if both is positive, become constructive. If both is negative, become constructive. Both of you are correct. Okay, is it okay for Human, Irene, Han Xuan, and of course Yan Ting and Taufik? Okay. So guys, today is a long day. Hope that you still can be able to absorb. Of course, I think this for Han Xuan, you'll be recorded. Just now I have some. Just now your friend mentioned there's some my some email accidentally also be recorded. I don't know whether I can remove or not. Of course, it doesn't matter. Okay, so if not, let's end the lesson here. Comma liao is what lah? What is comma liao? Yeah. So comma liao. Okay. So don't worry. Initial phrase will be concussed, confused, but eventually definitely will be clear one. 100% when it comes to TNA. Okay. So far, this course results quite good. Unless you really don't do your TMA, then obviously nothing can be helped. But once you do your TMA, you come to the revision or whatever, I 100% sure no issue. Okay. So if not, thank you very much. Make sure that you take a good break, and then I see you in the next lecture. Okay. So have a good night and good evening and rest well. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Of course, you can ask me question if you want. I will stay back until everyone has it. Yeah. Thank you. Have a good evening and of course, good weekend ahead.